Too often do we avoid having the hard conversations that are necessary to make real change in our community and in this country. And if we're ever going to make real change, we have to make sure that we're never giving up on that fight to make sure that we have representation, inclusion, and equity for everyone in our community. Our next storyteller is here to share with us how they are fighting the good fight. Picture it, a mix of James Baldwin and Grace Jones. Let that sink in. Please welcome Jonathan Lee.
Hey y'all. Again, I said, hey y'all. There you go. This is participatory. Anyway, so Michael Hager and I are on the board of IMPAC+NYC, a social organization that combats stigma and isolation associated with HIV. Last year, we partnered with the Generations Project for, you good? Okay. Last year, we partnered with the Generations Project for a summer story time just like this one. Hager invited my partner Scott and I down for the weekend to hang out with him and his partner, Michael Ballesteri. You got that? All right. Yes, girl, Michael Ballesteri. Moving on. And their new housemate. Well, for the sake of the story, we're going to call him Sean. Okay? All right. So, my story last year was about when I was 24, I got HIV. And my dear drag queen friend told me that I was going to be dead by the time I was 45. Well, I'm 48 now, so relax. I know, right? Drink it in. Can you tell I'm shy? Anyway, I had just finished telling the story and the event was over and everything. And we had logged off Zoom and I was basking in the glow of my own satisfaction as my partner Scott was refilling our daytime vodka beverages. Sean came over and joined us at the table and he grabbed my fan and he's all like, "What's this?" I was like, it's a fan. Where'd it come from? It looks stupid. Well, the fan is African. We got it at the African American Museum in Mississippi. Why would an African fan be in Mississippi? Slavery, obviously. Y'all, I've been so many white people's one black friend, and I've navigated white foolishness for as long as I can remember. The stereotypical affectations you use to show me you're down, that look of uncomfortable curiosity when my refinement contradicts the assumption of my lived experience you created in your little heads. The constant conversation about the N-word. You know the history. I don't know why you insist on using it. That's it. And the countless ways I've been sexualized as if your booty is a bounty I should be so lucky to be offered. But you won't say boo to a bitch in the daylight? Please. I've navigated that foolish, throwing magnificent shade to hide the pain, acting like each look didn't burn, each challenge didn't exhaust me. But not today, Miss Sean. Noting the tension, Hager walked over and interjected with some random trivia about the history of fans. Then Scott and the Michaels and I went wandering around Asbury because Scott had never been there before. Yes, Asbury Park. Girl, this story is about me at this moment, but I appreciate the participation. Go on, back to me. Anyway, so, where was I?
Asbury Park.
Thank you, baby. So, I'm in Asbury, right? We're wandering around, and we get back to the house. And here is Miss Sean, sitting in the squalor of his living room, frantically scrolling stuff for BBD. Now, as a point of reference, we had all just watched George Floyd be executed. Politically, we were in a flaming garbage fire. There were escalating protests happening in every major city, and we were 2 months inside of quarantines. Naturally, the protest came up in conversation. And here comes Miss Sean opening his mouth, unloading some racist diatribe. He's all like, well, he shouldn't have had a fake 20. He should have just done what the cops told him to. You know the looting needs to stop. You know how those people are. Those people, I say. Yeah, those ghetto black people. All right, so let me see if I understand you correctly. Mr. Floyd was sitting in his car, minding his own business. Cops walk up, guns drawn. They're screaming at this man with contradicting orders, and he is terrified because you know the cops don't see us like they see you. They execute this man on the street in broad daylight. Yet you are more concerned for the stores with millions of dollars in insurance than you are about a single black life. What makes my life more valuable than his? Better question. What makes yours? The backpedaling started, and I'm gonna be honest, I checked out. The next 36 were super awkward, dripping in white guilt, just dripping. And I didn't say a word because I was polite. Maya Angelou says when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. And I didn't even say anything when he sent my man several wolves on scrub, several of them. The sheer caucasity, I know. Anyway. Yes, use it, caucasity. Yes, please. Anyway, so, as the Michaels drove Scott and I back to the city on Monday, Hager looks at me and he's all like, hey girl, how was the weekend for you, girl? And I'm like, well, I'm not gonna bore you with the full conversation, but here's some of my favorite highlights. This was the most emotionally exhausting weekend I have spent in years. And before you ask, the storytelling part was fantastic. I love sharing the knowledge I've been fortunate enough to learn in my life with others. The exhaustion came from constantly having to defend my blackness, defend my right to exist, defend my humanity. The contrived, unsupported box facts being hurled at me to justify the treatment of my fellow black humans. And I don't even know where to start with Miss Sean. Was it that condescending tone? No, that wasn't it. Was it the way he looked at every single inch of my body every time I was in the room? Well, I get it. Look at me. Anyway, look, I see the same thing y'all do. It could have been, no, I know what it was. It was actually the way he attempted to gaslight me. That was until I was forced to introduce myself properly. He represents the unspoken, subtle racism the white queer community hurls at humans like me every single day. It's disgusting. It's demoralizing. It's dehumanizing, and I am done. The next day, I know, right? Drink it in. The next day, Hager calls me to, because our car ride's up a little unfinished. As we unpack the stereotyping, race baiting, unconscious bias, microaggressions, and sexual fetish at play over the weekend, I knew that this was just the tip of a white supremacist iceberg that no one wanted to acknowledge. We continued to unpack in the days that followed. Somewhere in there, we wanted to open this conversation up to our impact community. Actually, July 1st of last year, we held our first Comfortably Uncomfortable conversation. An open dialogue with the queer community held over Zoom every other Wednesday at 7 o'clock. They're watching now. Hey, y'all. I'm really proud. Over the last year, we've navigated some incredibly tough waters together, and I'm very proud of the space we've created. I still felt like there was a conversation missing, so in December, I opened my Christmas card to myself, and it was focused on perspective, and I had an epiphany. I wanted to have kitchen table talk about race. Cut to my podcast, Race Kiki with Jonathan Lee. Every week, I invite someone on and I ask just one question. When did you learn about race? And to my surprise, the conversations have been far more intelligent, heavy, and heartfelt than I've ever had before. They're hilarious. They're filled with honest, vulnerable moments and reaffirm why we're still having this insidious battle with racism, because no one wants to talk about it. You know, we can't fix a problem we're afraid to talk about, right? So what's the worst thing that could happen? You learn empathy? Let that sink in. Thank you all for listening. I'm a better person for having shared this with you.